The stars hung silent above the dark world of Varek 9, a lonely mining planet forgotten by most of the galaxy. Once, it was filled with life and machines. Now, only dust, broken towers, and echoes remained. Captain Mara Holt stood on the edge of the human landing zone, her helmet lights cutting through the cold mist. Around her, her crew checked scanners and equipment. Their mission was simple: search the ruins, record data, and return to the fleet. But nothing about Varek 9 felt simple. Lieutenant Wren, her second in command, kicked at the gray sand. "No signs of energy or movement, Captain." "This place is dead," Mara nodded slowly. "Stay sharp anyway. Dead worlds have long memories." They moved deeper into the ruins. Rusted walls and half-buried machines whispered of a war that had burned centuries ago. A war between humans and the Varek, a reptilian species that once ruled this region. Most believed the Varek were extinct. Some said they simply vanished. As the humans reached an old bunker, their motion scanners blinked. "Wait," Wren said. "Movement, small, near Sector 12. "Could be debris," said Pilot Juno, adjusting his blaster. "Or something worse," Wren muttered. Mara lifted a hand. "Let's check it out." They followed the weak signal into a narrow passage half-collapsed by time. The air grew thicker, colder. The sound came again, a faint, trembling breath. It wasn't metal or machine. It was alive. Inside a dark corner, behind a pile of shattered panels, something moved. Mara raised her light. A pair of glowing yellow eyes blinked back at her. It was a child, small, thin, scales cracked and dull, shivering with fear. The alien's skin was a faded shade of blue-green, and his clothes were torn rags of what once looked like military fabric. A weak, broken sound escaped his mouth. "But please," he whispered in rough galactic common. "Help." The team froze. Wren stepped back. "Captain, that's a Varek. They killed thousands of humans during the border wars." Mara didn't lower her weapon, but her voice softened. "He's just a child." "Or bait," Juno said. "Could be a trap." The boy shrank further, trembling. His breathing grew faster, panicked. His scales flashed dull red, fear response. Mara felt something twist inside her. Maybe it was pity. Maybe it was memory. Years ago, she had lost her little brother in the same kind of war. A boy who cried for help and no one came. She looked at the others. "Weapons down, that's an order." Wren frowned. "Captain!" "Now." Reluctantly, the crew lowered their blasters. Mara took a slow step forward and knelt. She removed her helmet so the child could see her face. Her brown eyes met his frightened yellow ones. "It's okay," she said softly. "We won't hurt you." The alien blinked in confusion. "Humans, do not help Varek." "Maybe we do now," Mara said with a small smile. "What's your name?" The boy hesitated. "Kyle. Kyle," she repeated. "I'm Mara, you're safe now." But the moment was fragile. From deeper in the ruins, a sudden rumble shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. Wren checked his scanner again, energy spikes rising fast. "Captain, multiple signals approaching, Varek drones, old war models still active." "Damn it," Mara cursed. "Juno, grab the kid." The pilot rushed forward, wrapping Kale in a thermal blanket. The child struggled for a second, then went limp, too weak to resist. The team ran through the collapsing tunnels as the ground split behind them. The ancient machines of the Varek army woke from their long sleep. Metallic beasts crawling out of the shadows, red eyes glowing like fire. "Move! Move!" Mara shouted. They burst out of the bunker just as an explosion tore it apart. Shards of metal and smoke filled the air. Juno dragged Kale toward the shuttle, his small body shaking with fear. Inside the ship, alarm screamed. "Engines online!" shouted the pilot. Mara turned one last time to see the burning ruins behind them. She whispered, "No one left behind. Not this time." The shuttle lifted into the dark sky, leaving the haunted planet below. As it rose, Kyle opened his eyes. Through the glass, he watched the clouds swallow Varek 9. He looked small and lost, clutching the human blanket tightly. Mara sat beside him. "You're safe now, Kyle. We're taking you to our ship." Kyle stared at her. Why save me? Mara looked out the window, the stars reflected in her eyes like tiny fires. Because that's what humans do. Hours later, aboard the UHS Artemis, the crew gathered in the medical bay. Cale rested inside a biobed, surrounded by curious faces. His wounds were deep, signs of old torture, hunger, and fear. Captain, Wren said quietly, Command won't like this. A Varric on board? After what happened in the war? Mara sighed. I know, but he's just a kid. We can't abandon him. Wren hesitated. You think he's the last one? Maybe, she said. Or maybe he's the start of something bigger. As they spoke, Kyle's monitors flickered strangely. Energy pulses that didn't match any known biology. The doctor frowned. His readings are impossible. Like his body is drawing power from light itself. Mara turned to look at the boy. He was sleeping now, peaceful, almost human in the soft glow of the medbay lights. Outside the ship's window, the stars shifted. A distant signal, unknown, encrypted, appeared on their sensors. Someone, or something, had noticed their rescue. Later that night, Mara sat alone in the observation deck. She replayed the moment Cale had whispered help, again and again in her mind. Something about that voice felt like destiny. Maybe saving him was a mistake. Maybe it would lead to danger. But deep down she felt something stronger, a quiet belief that sometimes one act of kindness could change everything. Behind her, soft footsteps approached. It was Cale, awake, wearing a small blanket around his shoulders. He looked up at the stars. They are beautiful, he said slowly. Mara smiled. Yes, they are. My people used to say, Kyle whispered, stars watch those who are alone. Mara looked at him gently. Then you don't have to worry anymore. You're not alone now. He turned to her, eyes wide, voice trembling. Humans call me what? She thought for a moment, then said the words that would echo across the universe. Family. Kyle didn't speak. He just stared at her, confused but touched by something he didn't yet understand. Outside, unseen in the dark, a pulse of strange light rippled through the void, like the universe itself had felt the word. And that's how it began. The moment when one human's mercy would change the fate of galaxies. The ship UHS Artemis drifted quietly through deep space, its engines glowing faintly blue. Inside, the crew tried to return to routine, but things felt different now. Everyone knew what was sleeping in the medbay, an alien child from a species that once called humans their enemies. For Captain Mara Holt, it wasn't an easy decision to bring him aboard. For the crew, it was even harder to accept. Lieutenant Wren leaned against the corridor wall, arms crossed, watching through the medbay glass. Inside, the boy, Kyle, lay awake, eyes flicking nervously between the glowing machines. He looked small and lost, wrapped in a human blanket that seemed too large for his thin body. He's trouble, Captain, Wren said quietly when Mara joined him. You saw what happened on Varric 9. The moment we found him, the place came alive with ancient war machines. What if he's some kind of tracker or bait? Mara didn't answer right away. She looked at Kyle, the way his eyes followed every movement, alert but afraid. He's just a child, she said finally. And children don't start wars. Wren frowned. His people did. Then maybe it's time someone taught him humans are different. Later that day, Kyle sat up slowly, blinking at the soft lights. The air smelled clean, strange but pleasant. A human doctor, Dr. Kira, smiled kindly as she checked his vitals. How are you feeling? She asked. Kyle hesitated. His voice was rough. Weak, but alive. That's good, Kira said. You're safe here. No one will hurt you. Kyle's eyes darted toward the door where Wren stood, arms folded watching. He wants me gone. Kira sighed softly. He just doesn't understand yet. Kyle's hands tightened around the blanket. No one understands the Varric. They fear us. Kira smiled gently. Then maybe you'll be the first they don't fear. In the mess hall, the crew sat eating silently. The mood was tense. "Did you see his eyes?" one engineer whispered. "They glow when he's scared." "I heard he can sense energy fields," said another. "Maybe he can hear thoughts," joked Juno, but no one laughed. Mara entered, tray in hand. Everyone quieted. She looked around the table. "Listen up, I know you're all nervous," she said calmly. "But that boy isn't our enemy. He's our guest." Ren muttered. "Guests usually don't come with bounty signals chasing them." Mara raised an eyebrow. "Until proven otherwise, he's under my protection, and anyone who disrespects that answers to me." The room went silent again. No one dared argue with the captain. That night, Kyle wandered quietly through the corridors. He was drawn to the stars beyond the windows, endless, cold, and free. On his homeworld, stars were something people prayed to when they were scared. He remembered his mother's voice. "The stars will guide you home." But he had no home now. Suddenly a voice came from behind. "Couldn't sleep?" It was Juno, the pilot. He leaned against the wall, smiling a little. Kyle looked away, too quiet. Juno laughed. "You'll get used to it. Out here, silence is normal. Space has no heartbeat." Kyle tilted his head. "Humans have strange sayings." "Yeah," Juno said. "We do. You hungry?" Kale hesitated. "Maybe." Minutes later, the two sat in the galley, Kale staring curiously at a bowl of soup. He sniffed it carefully. "It smells alive," Juno chuckled. "It's vegetable stew, kid." "Not alive. Eat before it gets cold." Kyle took a slow sip, then another. His eyes widened. "Warm." "That's what food's supposed to be," Juno said. "Warm keeps you going." For the first time since leaving Varek 9, Kale smiled. Small, shy, but real. Juno noticed. "See? You're already more human than you think. But peace never lasts long in deep space." Hours later, the ship's alarm screamed. Red lights flashed through the corridors. Ren's voice echoed over the comm. "Captain!" Unknown vessel approaching, fast. "Looks like a Hunter-class ship." Mara rushed to the bridge. "On screen!" A massive warship appeared, black and sharp-edged, like a predator in the dark. Strange symbols glowed across its hull. Not human, not friendly. Juno's hands flew over the controls. "It's locking weapons on us." "Evasive maneuvers," Mara ordered. "Shields up." The Artemis shook violently as plasma bolts struck its side. Ren yelled, "They're hailing us." "Put them through!" The screen flickered, showing a tall alien figure. Metallic armor, voice cold as ice. "Human vessel, you have taken something that belongs to us," it said. "Return the Varric child and you will be spared." Kyle stood behind Mara, trembling. "They found me." Mara turned slowly. "Who are they?" Kale's voice shook. "The Dominion. They destroyed my people. They hunt survivors." Mara faced the screen again. "This child is under human protection." "Then you will share his fate," the voice said. And the signal cut out. The next few minutes were chaos. Explosions rocked the ship. The crew worked fast, shouting commands and status reports. Shields down to 40%. Engines overheating. "We can't outrun them." Kale stood frozen near the console, tears in his eyes. "They will kill you because of me." Mara grabbed his shoulders firmly. "Listen to me, Kale, you didn't bring this." "They did. I should leave." "You're not leaving," she said fiercely. "Not while I'm in command." Suddenly, Kale's hands began to glow faintly blue. The lights around him flickered. Energy surged through the control panels. "Captain!" Ren shouted. "Power reading spiking." "It's coming from him." Kale gasped. "I don't know what's happening." The ship trembled then. A bright pulse burst from the Artemis, a wave of blue light spreading in all directions. The attacking ship's weapons shut down instantly. Their engines flickered out. Silence followed. Juno stared at the screen in shock. "They're disabled?" Ren whispered. What did he just do? Mara looked at Kale. He had collapsed to his knees, exhausted, eyes dim. "I didn't mean to, I just didn't want them to hurt you." Mara knelt beside him, steadying him. "You saved us, Kyle." He looked up weakly. "But now they'll never stop hunting me." Mara gave a small smile. "Then they'll have to go through all of us." Later, as the Artemis drifted in quiet space, the crew repaired what they could. No one called Kale a threat anymore. They called him the Kid. He sat in the observation deck again, watching the stars with Mara. You risked everything, he said quietly. Why? Mara looked out at the stars. Because we don't abandon family. Kyle turned his glowing eyes toward her. Family still feels strange. She smiled softly. You'll get used to it. Outside, a faint light flickered in the darkness. The damaged hunter ship, now drifting but still alive, sending a silent signal into the void. Somewhere far away, the Dominion received it. They knew the humans had interfered. And now the hunt would truly begin. The UHS Artemis floated quietly among the stars. After the attack, the crew had been busy repairing systems, sealing the hull and calming their racing hearts. For now, they were safe. But everyone knew the silence would not last. Captain Mara Holt stood on the bridge, staring at the stars on the main screen. Her reflection looked tired. Behind her, Lieutenant Wren was checking the scanners again and again, as if he didn't trust them. No more signs of pursuit, he said finally. Whoever they were, they've backed off. Mara crossed her arms. For now. But they'll be back, Wren sighed. All this for one alien kid. Mara turned her head slightly. Not just a kid, Wren, he saved this ship. Or something inside him did, Wren muttered. Mara ignored the comment and walked toward the med bay. Inside, Kale was sitting upright, a soft glow still pulsing under his skin. He looked fragile, but his eyes, those bright yellow eyes, held something deeper now. He was remembering. Dr. Kira stood near the scanner, recording the strange readings. His energy levels are dropping to normal again, she said. Whatever he did, it nearly drained him. Mara nodded. How's he doing otherwise? Kira smiled faintly. Physically fine. Mentally, he's scared. He keeps asking who the Dominion are. Mara looked at the boy. Maybe it's time we asked him that. Kale's fingers gripped the blanket on his lap as Mara sat beside him. He didn't meet her eyes at first. You want to know what I am, he said softly. I want to know the truth, Mara replied. We can't protect you if we don't understand what's chasing you. Kyle hesitated. Then slowly he began to speak. The secret, my people, the Varek, were never warriors. Long ago, we were scientists, explorers, dreamers. We believed knowledge could make the galaxy peaceful. But then the Dominion came. He paused, his hands trembling. They were not like any race we knew. They didn't conquer planets for land or resources. They fed on something else. Fed? Kira asked quietly. On what? On emotion, Kyle whispered. Fear, hate, pain. They created wars, lies, and chaos. Because the more fear spread, the stronger they became. Wren frowned. So they made your people fight humans? Kale nodded. Yes, the Dominion whispered lies into both sides. They made us believe humans destroyed our colonies. And they made humans think the Varek were monsters. We fought until both sides bled. Mara felt a heavy chill run through her. You mean the war was their plan all along? Yes, Kale said. And when the fighting ended, the Dominion erased the proof. They destroyed our records, our cities, our memories. Only a few of us survived. Hidden, forgotten, Kira whispered. How did you survive? Kale looked down. Because my mother was a scientist. She worked on a secret project, a way to store knowledge inside living cells. She placed it inside me when I was a baby. That's why they're hunting me. They want what's inside. Mara's eyes widened. So you carry the truth of what they did. Kale nodded slowly. And maybe a way to stop them. For a moment no one spoke. The only sound was the low hum of the ship. Wren finally broke the silence. Captain, if what he's saying is true, that means the Dominion could still be manipulating entire worlds. This isn't just about one kid. This could be war again. Mara looked at him sharply. Then we make sure history doesn't repeat itself. She turned to Kale. You're safe here. Whatever happens, we'll protect you. Kyle met her gaze, uncertain but touched. You don't even know what I am. Mara smiled slightly. I know enough. You asked for help and we answered. That's all that matters. Later, in the war room, the crew gathered around a hollow table. Kale stood near the edge, eyes flicking nervously over the glowing map of the galaxy. This is where we found you, Mara said, pointing at a blinking dot on the edge of the star chart. If the Dominion is spreading, where would they go next? Kale stepped forward, hesitating. They move through fear. They hide behind governments, trade unions, even peacekeepers. No one sees them until it's too late. Can we find proof? Ren asked. Something solid we can show command. Kale's voice grew quiet. Yes. My mother left data in an old facility, deep under the ruins of Varric Prime. But it's dangerous. The planet is poisoned. Mara raised an eyebrow. Poisoned how? Kale's gaze turned distant. By screams. That night, the ship drifted near a glowing nebula. The stars outside shimmered like tiny fires dancing on dark water. Kyle sat alone in the observation deck again, knees pulled close, staring at the colors. He felt strange. Safe, but scared. For the first time, someone had listened to him. No one had called him a weapon or an experiment. Mara had called him family. He whispered the word again. Family. It sounded soft and powerful at the same time. Footsteps approached. Mara sat beside him quietly. Couldn't sleep again? Kale shook his head. Dreams. I see my home burning. Mara looked out at the stars. Dreams have a way of showing us what still hurts. He turned to her. Captain, if I bring you to Varric Prime, they'll come. You'll be in danger. Mara smiled faintly. Danger's part of the job. But if what you carry can expose the Dominion, it's worth it. Kale looked at her for a long moment, then whispered, You don't understand. The Dominion doesn't just destroy worlds. They erase them from memory. Even the stars forget they were ever there. Mara's eyes darkened. Then we'll remind the galaxy what they tried to erase. In the lower deck, Ren and Juno worked on the ship's shields. Ren frowned. I still don't trust him. His story's wild. Feeding on fear? Hidden memories? Sounds like a child's myth. Juno wiped his hands. Maybe, but he saved us when no one else could. Myth or not, that power's real. Yeah, Ren said. And if Command finds out, they'll want to use him. He didn't notice the small surveillance drone hovering quietly above, recording every word, transmitting it to a distant frequency. The Dominion's reach was already closer than anyone guessed. Hours later, the ship's computer beeped softly. Incoming signal. Encrypted, faint, almost like a whisper. Kira frowned at the screen. Captain, it's coming from within the nebula. Show me, Mara said. The static cleared, revealing an image, a voice distorted but recognizable. Human vessel Artemis, it said slowly. We know what you carry. Hand over the boy and your world will not burn. Kale froze. His heart pounded. They found us again? Mara's eyes hardened. Not this time. She turned to the crew. Prepare the jump. We're going to Varric Prime. Kale stared at her in disbelief. You're going there for me? Mara gave a small, steady smile. For the truth. And for family. Outside, the nebula pulsed with light, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The Artemis's engines roared, slicing through space toward the forbidden world, and toward the secrets that could change everything. The UHS Artemis glided through the glowing clouds of the nebula, engines humming softly. Its path was set toward a dead world, Varric Prime, the lost home of Kale's people. The stars around them were silent, as if watching. Inside the ship, no one spoke much. The crew worked quietly, tension hanging in the air like static. Everyone knew the Dominion was still hunting them. No one said it, but they all felt it. The sense of being followed. Captain Mara Holt stood on the bridge, hands resting on the console. Status? She asked. Ren replied, shield stable. Engines running clean, but our long-range sensors are glitching again. Glitching how? Mara asked. They keep showing ghosts, Ren said. Faint signatures appearing, then vanishing. Could be nothing. Or someone cloaked. Mara's eyes narrowed. Stay alert. If the Dominion's behind us, I want to know before they bite. Down in the observation deck, Kyle sat near the glass wall, staring at the swirling lights outside. The nebula reminded him of home, beautiful but dangerous. He could almost hear voices whispering inside the colors. Sometimes he wasn't sure if they were memories or something else. Dr. Kira entered quietly, carrying a small tray of food. You haven't eaten, she said. Again, Kyle smiled weakly. Food tastes strange here. Too gentle. Kira sat beside him. Gentle isn't bad. You've had enough pain for one lifetime. Kyle looked down at his hands. Faint blue lines pulsed under his skin. I feel different. Since the attack, like something inside me woke up. Kira studied him carefully. You think it's the power your mother gave you? He nodded slowly. It's growing. Sometimes I can hear things, not voices, but feelings. Fear, anger. They echo, Kira frowned. Echo from what? Kyle lifted his gaze toward the stars. From them. The Dominion. Hours passed. The Artemis left the nebula's edge and entered dark, quiet space again. The stars thinned. Ahead, a dull gray planet appeared. Scarred, burned, lifeless. Varric Prime, Mara whispered. We're here. Kyle stood beside her, his face pale. My home? The surface looked like ashes frozen in time. The oceans were gone, replaced by deserts of glass. Cities had turned to bones of metal. Even from orbit, the planet felt wrong. Heavy, like something alive was buried beneath it. Ren adjusted the scanners. Radiation levels low. We can land, but I'm picking up energy readings from underground. Faint but steady. That's the old research facility, Kyle said. Where my mother hid the data. Mara nodded. Then that's where we're going. The descent. The shuttle pierced the thin clouds, shaking as it entered the atmosphere. Below, the ground stretched endlessly. Black stone and dead wind. Nothing moved. No sound. No life. When they landed near the ruins of a massive tower, Kale stepped out first. The air was dry and cold. He knelt, pressing a hand to the cracked ground. She was here, he whispered. I can feel it. The others looked around cautiously. Ren scanned the area. No movement, but I don't like this. Feels like we're being watched. They moved through broken corridors and silent chambers until they reached a large circular door. The old Varric symbols glowed faintly when Kyle touched them. It still recognizes me, he said. With a low hum, the door opened, revealing a vast underground hall filled with dim blue light and ancient machines still half alive. The message of the past. At the center stood a crystal sphere on a pedestal. Kale approached it slowly. As he touched it, the room lit up with moving images. A memory recording. A woman's voice filled the air, gentle and strong. If you are hearing this, my son, then the Dominion has already won. They will twist history, make the galaxy forget us. But inside you, I place the truth and the power to wake the stars. Kale's eyes widened. Mother. The hologram showed the woman smiling sadly. Humans are not your enemies, Kale. They are the key. Their hearts carry something the Dominion fears. Compassion. Protect it. Learn from them. And one day, the galaxy will remember. The light faded. No one spoke for a long moment. Even Ren looked shaken. Finally, Mara said softly, Your mother was brave. She saw the truth long before anyone else. Kyle's voice trembled. She died believing someone would listen. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. She was right. We're listening. Suddenly, the ship's communicator crackled to life. Captain, this is Juno. You need to come back now. We've got company. Mara's eyes widened. Dominion? More than one ship. Juno's voice shouted. They came out of hyperspace, surrounding us. Ren cursed. They followed our jump trail. Mara grabbed her blaster. Move! Everyone back to the shuttle. The chase they ran through the ruins, boots echoing on stone. The wind screamed outside as the sky turned red. Dominion fighters breaking through the clouds. Explosions rocked the ground. Shards of rock and metal rained around them. Keep moving. Mara shouted. Kale stumbled but felt Mara pull him forward. Behind them, plasma bolts lit the air like lightning. The shuttle roared to life as they jumped aboard. Juno shouted from the cockpit, Strap in! We're punching out. The engines screamed, lifting the craft just as a Dominion beam struck the tower, sending flames into the sky. The shuttle shot upward, leaving the burning ruins behind, but not fast enough. They've locked on, Ren yelled. Missiles incoming. Kale gripped the seat, eyes glowing brighter. The air around him vibrated with strange energy. Kyle, Mara shouted. Don't, but it was too late. A wave of blue light burst from him again, sweeping through the cabin and out into the sky. The missiles froze mid-air, then turned and exploded against the Dominion ships instead. The crew stared in stunned silence. Juno whispered, Remind me never to make that kid angry. Kyle slumped in exhaustion, breathing hard. I didn't mean to. It just happens. Mara steadied him. You saved us again, but you can't keep doing this alone. We'll find another way. As the Artemis escaped Varric Prime's orbit, the planet burned behind them, but far below, Deep under the ruins, the crystal sphere began to glow again. A faint pulse of light spread through the soil, traveling across the void like a heartbeat. The Dominion fleet regrouped in the distance. One commander watched the human ship disappear and spoke coldly into the comms. They have awakened the air. The hunt begins. Inside the Artemis, Kale slept in the medbay, breathing slowly. Mara watched him through the glass. Ren walked in quietly. "Captain, we can't keep running forever." "The Dominion won't stop," Mara nodded. "Then we stop them first," Ren blinked. "How?" She turned toward the stars. "By doing what humans do best, standing together." The stars drifted slowly outside the UHS Artemis as the ship sailed through the quiet void. After the chaos on Varric Prime, silence felt heavy, almost wrong. The crew moved softly, whispering as if afraid to disturb the calm. Kyle rested in the medbay, still recovering. His skin glowed faintly under the medical lights, the strange blue energy moving like liquid fire beneath the surface. Dr. Kira sat beside him, her tired eyes watching the monitors. He stirred. "How long was I out?" 3 hours, she said gently. "You burned through your strength again. Whatever that power is, it's not normal energy. It's something deeper." Kyle tried to sit up, but she placed a hand on his shoulder. "Rest. You nearly died saving us." He smiled weakly. "I keep hearing that." Kira shook her head. "You're not just our guest anymore, Kyle. You're part of this crew, part of this family." Kale's eyes widened slightly. "Family," he whispered the word like it was something sacred. "Humans use that word so easily." Kira smiled softly. "Maybe, but when we mean it with everything." Shadows of pursuit in the command room. Captain Mara Holt stood with Ren and Juno, reviewing the latest sensor data. The holographic display flickered with faint red dots trailing far behind them. "They're still following," Ren muttered. "2 Dominion cruisers, maybe more. They're keeping their distance, watching us," Juno frowned. "They're not attacking because they're waiting for something." "Waiting for what?" Mara asked. Ren met her eyes grimly. "For Kale." Mara clenched her jaw. "Then they'll never have him." She turned off the hologram. "We can't keep running. We need to know what Kale's mother meant. The power to wake the stars. That might be the only way to stop them." A light within later, in the observation deck. Kale stood by the wide glass window looking at the stars. The nebula's faint light reflected in his eyes. He could feel the pulse again, the same heartbeat he felt on Varric Prime. Mara entered quietly. "You can't sleep either?" Kyle shook his head. "The stars are whispering. They sound afraid," Mara joined him. "Stars don't fear." "People do." Kale looked at her, his face calm but sad. "Maybe that's why I feel them." Mara studied him. "Your mother said you hold the key. What do you think she meant?" He hesitated. "The Varric were once part of something greater, a network of worlds connected through energy and memory. My people guarded that secret until the Dominion destroyed us. So this power in you," Mara said, "it's part of that network?" "Maybe," he said softly. "But it responds to emotion. When I feel fear, it burns. When I feel hope, it listens." Mara folded her arms. "Then maybe it's time to teach it something new. Trust." Kale smiled faintly. "You trust too easily, Captain." "Maybe," she said, "but that's what family does." Training the spark over the next few days, Kale worked with Kira and Ren to understand his power. They tested it in the cargo bay, away from sensitive systems. Kyle stood in the middle of the open space, breathing slowly. The air shimmered faintly around him. "Okay," Ren said nervously. "Try something small, please." Kyle nodded. He raised his hand, focusing on a metal crate. The blue glow formed around his fingers like gentle lightning. The crate lifted a few inches, then softly floated back down. Juno, watching from behind the shield barrier, whistled. "That's both awesome and terrifying." Kale smiled slightly. "It's harder to control when I'm scared." Mara crossed her arms. "Then we train until fear listens to you, not the other way around." The signal 3 days later. While Kale and the crew were running power tests, the Artemis's main console beeped, a faint signal repeating every few seconds. Juno frowned. "That's not background noise. It's a transmission." Ren tuned it carefully. A distorted voice came through the static. "If you are human or Varric, you are not alone. Everyone froze. Mara stepped forward. Where is it coming from? Sector 9X. An abandoned relay station near the edge of Dominion space, Ren said. Kale's heartbeat quickened. That's impossible. Novarek station should still be active. Juno looked at Mara. Could be a trap. Mara nodded slowly. Maybe. But if there's even a chance someone else survived, we check it out. Kale looked at her, eyes glowing faintly. You'd risk your crew for that? She smiled. We don't abandon family. Not ever. The dream that night, Kale couldn't sleep. He drifted into uneasy dreams. Flames, destruction, his mother's voice echoing through the void. The Dominion will hunt what it cannot understand. But remember, my son, the light inside you is not a weapon. It is a bridge. He opened his eyes, breathing hard. The ship was quiet except for the hum of engines. For the first time, he didn't feel alone. He whispered to the darkness, a bridge. Between who and what? The Dominion's plan far away, aboard a Dominion flagship. Admiral Threx watched the hologram feed showing the Artemis. His cold reptilian eyes narrowed. The heir of Varric lives. His power grows faster than expected. A second figure, cloaked in silver, replied, The humans protect him. They are unpredictable, Threx hissed. Then we make them predictable. Break them. Use the bond they value most. He turned toward the star map, pointing at a cluster of red dots. Prepare the fleet. Let them come to us. When they reach the relay station, the trap will close. The choice back on the Artemis, the crew prepared for the journey. The ship's engines thrummed, the stars stretching into blue streaks as they jumped into hyperspace. Kyle stood near the bridge window, the stars rushing past him. Mara walked up beside him, arms crossed. You sure about this? She asked. He nodded. If there's even one Varric left, I have to find them. Mara smiled faintly. You've changed, Kale. When we found you, you wanted to disappear. He looked at her. And now? No, you're fighting for something bigger. He smiled back. Maybe that's what family does. The calm before the storm. The ship slowed as it neared the edge of the sector. A cold blue planet appeared on the screen, the abandoned relay station floating above it like a ghost. Ren checked the scanners. No immediate signs of danger, but I'm picking up strange readings. Energy spikes, same signature as Kale. Kira frowned. That's not possible. Unless, Kale's eyes widened. Unless someone like me is calling. Mara looked at him. Then we're going to find out who. The ship moved silently toward the old station, unaware of the Dominion fleet waiting just beyond the shadow of the planet. The UHS Artemis drifted quietly through the void, heading toward the faint blinking signal from the old relay station. From a distance, the structure looked dead, a gray skeleton of metal turning slowly above a frozen blue planet. But inside, something pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat waiting to be heard. Captain Mara Holt stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the view. Status? Ren tapped on the console. No movement. Radiation levels normal. But I don't like this silence. Juno leaned back in her chair. Every instinct says it's a trap. Mara gave a small smile. That's why we're careful, not scared. From behind, Kale stepped forward. His glowing blue eyes reflected the lights on the screen. The signal's still repeating, he said softly. It feels familiar. Mara turned to him. Familiar how? Kale hesitated, like someone who's calling for help, but doesn't know they're already gone. A chill ran through the bridge, the ghost station. The shuttle descended slowly toward the relay. The outer hull of the station was cracked and blackened by time. Pieces of it drifted away like ashes in space. Inside, the corridors were cold and silent. Kale, Mara, and Ren moved carefully, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Every few steps, Kyle would pause, looking around, his breath visible in the cold air. Something's wrong, he whispered. I can hear echoes, not voices, memories. Ren frowned. Memories of what? Kale turned toward the wall, placing his hand on the cold metal. Instantly, blue energy rippled under his touch. The lights flickered on, and holograms blinked to life, fragments of the past. The images showed Varric scientists working in the same hall long ago. They looked desperate, hurried, afraid. The Dominion is closing in, one shouted. We can't let them find the child. Mara's eyes widened. The child. That must be you. Kyle watched silently as the hologram faded. "This was where my mother sent her last message," he said. Where it all ended. The signal that lies back on the Artemis. Dr. Kira monitored the ship's sensors. The repeating transmission suddenly changed. It no longer sounded like a call for help. It was faster now, sharper. Her eyes widened. "Oh no," she activated her comm. "Captain, it's not a distress signal. It's a locator beacon. It's transmitting your position." Before she could finish, alarms blared across the ship. Juno's voice shouted through the intercom. "Multiple warp signatures incoming. Dominion ships, 3, no 5 of them." The stars outside rippled with blue light as massive Dominion cruisers dropped out of hyperspace, forming a deadly circle around the Artemis. The trap, springs inside the station. The walls trembled. Mara's comm crackled. Juno's voice came through, panicked. "Captain!" "They're here. It's an ambush," Ren cursed. "We have to get back now." Kale stood still, his hands glowing faintly. "They want me. They'll kill you to get me." Mara grabbed his arm. "We're not leaving you behind, Kyle. You're one of us." He looked into her eyes, human eyes filled with courage, not fear. For a second, he almost smiled. "Humans, always choosing the hard path," Mara smirked. "It's what we do best." The battle begins as they raced back to the shuttle. The station shook violently. Dominion boarding pods slammed into the outer hull, their claws cutting through metal like knives. Ren fired at the first door that opened, plasma bolts lighting the corridor. "Go, I'll cover." Kyle turned, raising his hand. A surge of blue light blasted from his palm, sending the attackers flying backward like shadows in the wind. The corridor filled with smoke and fire. Mara shouted, "Move!" They sprinted into the shuttle bay and launched just as the station erupted in explosions behind them. Flames trailed across the black sky as the Artemis swooped in and locked on. "Fire in the void!" "Hang on!" Juno shouted as Dominion fighters swarmed around the ship. Beams of red light flashed past the windows. The Artemis shook violently. Ren manned the guns, firing back with rapid bursts. "There are too many!" Mara held onto her chair, barking orders. "Divert all power to shields." Juno, evasive maneuvers, cut through their formation. The ship dived sharply, spinning through enemy fire. But a massive cruiser loomed ahead, its main cannon glowing with deadly energy. Juno cursed. "They're charging a plasma beam." Before anyone could react, Kale staggered forward, eyes burning bright blue. "I can stop it," he said. Mara turned to him sharply. "You'll kill yourself." He shook his head. "Maybe, but if I don't, they'll kill all of you." The power awakens. Kyle walked to the center of the bridge. His body began to glow brighter, the light spreading from his chest to his hands. Every screen on the ship flickered as the power levels spiked. Kira's voice echoed through the comm. "Kyle, your heart rate, it's too high. You can't hold that much energy." Kale closed his eyes. "I'm not holding it. I'm giving it back." Outside, the Dominion cannon fired, a massive beam of red energy streaking toward the Artemis. But before it hit, Kale raised his hands and a wave of blue light burst outward, colliding with the beam mid-space. The explosion lit up the entire sector, silent, beautiful, deadly. The Dominion ship shattered into fragments of molten metal. The cost when the light faded. Kale collapsed. Mara caught him before he hit the floor. His eyes were dim, his breathing shallow. "Kyle," she shouted. "Stay with me." He opened his eyes weakly. Did it work?" Mara smiled through tears. "You just saved us all again." He tried to speak, but his voice was fading. "I saw her, Captain. My mother, she said, the bond is real. The stars will listen." Then his hand went still. "Kyle," Mara whispered. The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of the engine seemed to stop. The fading light, for a moment, no one spoke. Then Kira's voice came softly through the intercom. "Captain, his vitals are gone." Mara's hand trembled. "No, not after everything." Ren looked away, fists clenched. "The kid deserved better," Juno whispered. "He was family." Outside, the Dominion fleet was in chaos. Their leader's ship was gone, their communication broken. But inside the Artemis, grief hung heavier than victory. Mara stood slowly, looking out at the stars. "Prepare for hyperspace." "We're getting out of here," Ren nodded. "Where to?" She stared into the darkness. "Home, wherever that is now." The stars remember as the Artemis jumped to light speed. A faint blue shimmer spread across the void, the same energy that had once lived inside Kale. It flowed quietly through the wreckage, through space itself, until it reached the surface of the frozen planet below. There, deep under the ice, a buried chamber lit up for the first time in centuries. A holographic figure appeared, Kyle's mother. Her voice echoed softly into the emptiness. The bond is never broken. When humans call you family, the universe listens, and somewhere far away, a single heartbeat pulsed in the dark. Slow, steady, alive. The UHS Artemis sailed through the quiet ocean of stars. Inside, the once lively crew moved in silence. The hum of the engines was soft, but the heart of the ship felt heavy, like something precious had been lost. Captain Mara Holt sat alone in the command chair, staring at the empty pilot seat. Kale's seat. He had given everything to save them, to save everyone. And now his absence filled every corner of the ship. Ren finally spoke, his voice low. "We should have turned back, Captain." Mara didn't look up. "Turn back to what?" "He's gone," Juno added softly. "But his energy, it saved us all. The Dominion fleet scattered. Their systems are breaking apart." Kyle broke their chain. Mara closed her eyes, and broke himself with it. For the first time since she became captain, she didn't feel like a leader. She felt like someone who'd lost family, a flicker in the dark deep in the med bay. The lights flickered. Dr. Kira was checking through the medical readings one last time, before shutting down the systems connected to Kale's body. His form lay still under the glass shield, pale, peaceful, surrounded by faint traces of blue light that refused to fade completely. Kira sighed, whispering to herself, "You should have seen what you did. Kale, you made us believe again." Then the light flickered again, and again. Her eyes widened. "No." The monitors came alive, showing faint life readings, weak but steady. His pulse, slow, fragile, but real. She pressed the intercom. "Captain, you need to get down here, now." The heartbeat returns. Mara rushed into the med bay with Ren and Juno close behind. Kira pointed to the monitors, her hands shaking. "He's alive!" They stared in disbelief as Kyle's chest rose slightly, his fingers twitching. Juno gasped. "That's impossible." He was gone." Mara stepped closer. "Kyle, can you hear me?" His eyes fluttered open, faint blue light glowing within them. When he spoke, his voice was soft, distant. "I heard you. Calling." Mara smiled through tears. "We never stopped." Kyle blinked slowly. "The light, it didn't die. It just went home." "What do you mean?" Rin asked. Kale looked past them, as if seeing through the walls of the ship. It found the others. The Varek, some of them still sleep, but now, they're waking. A galaxy stirring far away, on worlds long forgotten. Ancient machines powered by blue energy began to hum again. Buried cities lit up like stars under the sand. The Dominion's networks flickered and failed, their command ships losing control. Across space, strange transmissions began to echo, messages in the Varek language mixed with human code. The bond is real. The stars remember. Mara watched the incoming data on the ship's screen. "Is this him?" Kira nodded. "Not just him. It's spreading. Everywhere." Kyle stood slowly, his strength returning faster than anyone expected. "The power isn't mine anymore. It belongs to everyone connected by the bond. Human, Varek, anyone who still believes in life over control." The Dominion strikes back before the crew could celebrate. The ship's alarms blared. Ren shouted, "Dominion ship detected! They're tracking the signal!" Mara frowned. "They must think Kale's the source." Kale stepped forward. "They're right. Then we run." Juno said, hands on the controls. But Kale shook his head. "No, running won't stop them. This time they have to see." He turned to Mara. "Open the comms." "I'll talk to them." Mara hesitated. "Cal, trust me," he said simply. "You called me family. Let me protect it." The message to the stars. The holographic comm screen flickered to life, revealing the Dominion commander, Admiral Threx, his reptilian face twisted in anger. "Varek Air," Threx hissed. "You survived." Kyle's voice was calm. "You destroyed worlds because you feared connection. But it's too late. The bond you tried to kill now lives in billions, Threx sneered. You are nothing but a spark, Kyle smiled faintly. And sparks start stars. Before the commander could reply, the entire Dominion fleet systems began to malfunction. Weapons shutting down, engines freezing mid-space. Kale's blue light spread across their ships like veins of living energy. Mara watched in awe. Kyle, what are you doing? I'm showing them what family means, he said. It's not just love. It's unity, something no empire can destroy. The Dominion ships, one by one, turned dark, their power gone. Their threat ended without a single shot. The dawn of something new. When silence returned, Kale collapsed again, but this time he was smiling. Kira and Mara helped him to his feet. Mara whispered, You ended a war without firing a weapon. He shook his head. We did. Humans taught me what the Varric forgot, that compassion is stronger than fear. The Artemis drifted quietly for a long time. Then Juno looked up from her console. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Hundreds of them. Different species, different worlds, all repeating the same phrase. Mara turned to her. What phrase? Juno smiled. They're saying, when humans call you family, the universe listens. A new beginning. Later, in the observation deck, the crew gathered as the ship entered a bright nebula glowing with blue and gold light. It was as if the universe itself was alive, watching them, listening. Kyle stood beside Mara. Do you think this is over? Mara shook her head. No, but maybe. It's the start of something better. Kyle smiled. A bridge, not a weapon. That's what my mother meant. Ren grinned. And what now, Captain? Mara looked out at the swirling stars. Now we explore, together. Kyle turned to her. You really think humans can change the galaxy? Mara smiled warmly. We already have. We made it a family. Epilogue, the universe. Listens far across the stars, the light that began with one boy and one human ship kept spreading, reaching worlds that had forgotten hope. For the first time in centuries, alien voices spoke to humans not with fear, but with trust. And somewhere, deep in the cosmic silence, the faint whisper of a woman's voice echoed once more. My son. You did it. The stars are awake again. As the Artemis vanished into the glow of the nebula, its engines painted a trail of silver through the darkness, a symbol of unity, of courage, and of one truth that now bound the galaxy together. When humans call you family, the universe truly listens.